We've reached the finale of the 2024 F1 season. It's been a good season, but it's time for it to end, sadly, with round 24. It's Abu Dhabi. The Yas Marina circuit is now known as the end of the Formula 1 season, and the race takes place over 58 laps of the 5.2 kilometre circuit. The driver with the most wins at Abu Dhabi is Lewis Hamilton, but based on his current form, I can't see him winning this weekend. Red Bull, on the other hand, have the most constructors' wins at the circuit. The track has 16 official corners, which consists of a fast-flowing first sector with a slower, twistier final sector. Most of the slower speed corners were changed when the circuit had a redesign a few years ago. The track has two DRS zones. One is down the first long straight between turns 5 and 6, and then the second is straight after the chicane between turns 7 and 9. Turn 9 is now a much faster flowing corner, so overtaking is much harder there on the brakes than it used to be. This weekend, the Pirelli tyre offerings are the C3, C4 and C5 compound tyres, the softest available in the range. There are a few things we need to talk about before Abu Dhabi. The biggest thing probably is the fight for the Constructors' Championship. It can still be won by either Ferrari or McLaren, but Red Bull are now out of the mix. In reality, it's McLaren's to lose, because McLaren have 640 points and Ferrari have 619. That's a gap of 21 points. Ferrari would realistically need a double podium with a poor result for both McLarens. Anything can happen, but it does look like at this stage it's McLaren's to lose. We also have multiple drivers having their final races, either in Formula 1 entirely or for their respective teams, changing for next year. The biggest name on this list is probably Lewis Hamilton, who's in his final race for Mercedes. Honestly, the way it's been going, I wouldn't have been surprised if he stepped aside for this final race. He wanted to quit after Brazil, but Qatar, it was even worse. A terrible race all round with his jump start, then a drive-through for speeding in the pits, and then finally a puncture. It couldn't have been much worse. The second half of the season, Hamilton has not looked himself. And while there have been some weekends where he's definitely performed well, and his race pace for the most part has been really good minus the last few races, his qualifying has definitely let him down. Not the send-off he wanted. But there's a lot of history between Hamilton and Mercedes, and so hopefully they send him off in style. At least he's actually able to drive the final race though. Esteban Ocon isn't available to finish out his time with Alpine. He'll be replaced for the final race of the season by Jack Doohan. Doohan, who will also race for Alpine next season, will get a jump start on his time with the team. But it seems as though this was not mutual as it's been portrayed. Ocon wanted to drive for his new Hadz team at the end of season Abu Dhabi test, but it's been reported that Alpine would only allow him to do this if he stepped aside for the final race of the season. Given what he's done for the team over the years, I think it's incredibly poor that they've chosen to not give him a proper send-off and not even let him finish the season he started. Very poor from Alpine. I'm also going to miss Valtteri Bottas. Hopefully he does get that reserve driver role with Mercedes. I'd like to still see him around the paddock. I think overall 2024 has been a good season, but hopefully 2025 is going to be a banger. I'll see you at Abu Dhabi.